Right, so hello everyone. Welcome to the Recipe to Success, and look at this view. We finally started the pods on the AIM Dubai, which is good. But yeah, we're doing a little special. Usually we do the industry specific one, but I met Chris a couple of weeks ago, and we'll do the introduction in a second. But I met Chris a couple of weeks ago for a friend, and this guy is like he's the Ian entrepreneur. He's got ideas coming, a list as long as his arm, and he's constantly always coming up with new ideas and stuff, and generally just quite an inspiring guy to be around. So I thought it'd be great to catch up with him and sit down and just really get into the brain of Chris Wright. So without going on any longer, Mr. Chris Wright, how are we doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. We did a little warm up on the microphone earlier. I was like, 1, 2, 3 in the place to be. I'm with Chris Wright. I thought that should be the introduction.
MC.
Yeah, exactly. So how's things?
Yeah, could have been better, obviously, but like just cracking on, just really keeping things above water at the moment. It's just been, I feel like the ship's been sunk during COVID. We were flying high. We were doing so good. It was probably the best time of my life, actually. Like just before COVID, we were at the point where everything we ever wanted to happen was happening.
Yeah.
And then literally like everything just stopped. So, but
I think that's, I mean, obviously this podcast is obviously all related around business. So I think chatting to like loads of different business owners, I don't think there's a single industry specifically that has not been kind of impacted by this, apart from obviously healthcare, which has gone through the roof.
Yeah. And supermarkets.
And supermarkets as well,
and pharmacies.
And pharmacies,
That's it, really.
But everyone's been kind of impacted, and I think it's like, it's a very, like you said, it's about the ship kind of sinking or swimming. It's what do you do to kind of make a business decision,
exactly,
and especially when it affects the lives of others. So before we get more into the business side of things, tell us what it is you do.
So my company is called the Wright Group. Basically, it's very diverse. It covers a lot of areas. So one of them is events, marketing, travel, consultancy, content creation. And then also we do product development as well. And the companies under that umbrella, well, there's a lot of different type of brands that we created. So Inside Lifestyle is one of my companies, which is a travel company. So we provide a lot of holidays, organize a lot of trips for different people. And
how did that come about?
Inside Lifestyle. So I lived in Ibiza when I was 18.
Okay.
I moved there when I was 18 to become a DJ. And I just got to the point where when I was there, we was doing promotion, PR, organising events and stuff like that. And then I got to a point where a lot of people were always asking me, like, put an itinerary together. We've never been to Ibiza before. How do we, what's the best places to go to? And I was literally doing that for 6-7 years. And then I think it was 2017. That was when Inside Lifestyle kind of started to come about. It was Inside Ibiza. So me and my business partner, Nick, I met Nick in Ibiza and we lived together, and he just kind of said, like, what you do, why don't you just make it into a bit more of an official company and sort of take it to another level? And I was pretty much doing the same sort of thing, but it wasn't on a level that we were doing now. We were kind of just organising people's holidays and putting trips together and stuff, but it wasn't done in a, through a website, through a proper platform. And then it just grew from there, really.
So when you first started out in Ibiza, like, let's rewind, because I wouldn't say I'm probably as good as Chris, but I'm also a bit of a DJ as well. DJ for 10 years, but I never really went like fully into it because I was always worried about, like times like this. If you don't get booked, what's going to happen? But obviously I've been to Ibiza a lot of times because I love Ibiza. Like, what was it like just being like a full-time DJ? Like
full-time? It was mad, really. Like the first, so I'm actually like a proper original DJ. So I've been DJing
off the vinyls,
like, not vinyls, like wedding DJ. So when I was younger, my first ever gig was at our school disco. So I used to organise all the school parties. So in my school,
coming to the school disco tonight, yeah, mate, I'm DJing.
No, I'd fly around the playground for the school disco. Like we'd have like a notice board on the wall. It'd have my name on it, and I used to organise them because our teachers didn't want to do school discos, and they used to say it was too much work, it was too much hassle. And I was like, well, let me do it and you don't have to worry about it. And it obviously lifts the community spirit up. And I used to just be like, we need to do it. Every other school does school discos, why don't we do it? So that's where it kind of started for me. And I was always doing mobile DJing, christenings, weddings. And then when I was 18, when I was allowed to go to Ibiza, that was when my mum was like, she didn't want me to go, but obviously she was like, well, you're 18, you can't stop you. So that was like my first like ever sort of experience of going to a place where it was just full on. Everywhere you went, there was billboards, obviously with DJs on it, and that's what you obviously aspired to do. And my first ever job was working in a karaoke bar in the West End, and I used to do like 5 nights a week. DJing, 7 hours straight, playing the same song every hour because new people would come in and then they'd leave, and then you'd be playing, literally probably play the same song like 10 times in one night. So it was just like full on. The music, the salary was awful,
soul destroying,
just awful. But it was like, I'm DJing and Ibiza mum. Do you know what I mean? I'm here, I'm making money, I'm surviving, I'm making contacts, and I think that's all it's about really. Is, I mean, at the time I obviously still had a lot of you know, things to learn about music and DJing because I was only 18, but I was in there, I was in the midst of it, I was meeting people, I was meeting promoters. I just wanted to be involved in it all, and you have to obviously start off somewhere, you know, at the bottom and try and work your way up. So
I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, and it's not even just about being a DJ, it's also about like career life, is that people seem to think that they can just jump out of 100%, university 100%. Or jump out of living at home with mum and go bang, I'm going to be this and this, which is like, it is sometimes it happens, but I think to really appreciate what it's like when you're here, you have to experience what it's like when you're here.
Yeah, 100%. And I say this to a lot of people because I get a lot of people DMing me on Instagram, and people say to me, oh, can I play for your events? Or like, how do you get started? And it really is like, you know, it's been a challenge for me. I haven't just jumped into it and managed to get a gig in Amnesia. Like, I remember when I was working I remember there was an opportunity that come about where I could DJ at Ibiza Rocks. Now, this wasn't Ibiza Rocks, the actual stage. This was Ibiza Rocks in the reception.
I think you were telling me about this before, with beer tokens.
Yeah, so they say, we can't pay you, there's no budget. So I used to get paid in beer tokens. So I'd turn up for my gig, the receptionist would give me an envelope with 5 beer tokens in it. And that was my salary for the night. And I used to do that every single week. And I did it because I wanted to get into the main Ibiza Rocks area. Obviously, I was just playing in the lobby. Like, people would come in and check in, and I'd be just DJing, playing music for like 5 hours. But I did them sets because eventually I actually did manage to go, and I ended up playing in the main area, and I got to warm up Example.
Nice.
So that took 3 summers to get to that main area. But that was the type of stuff that you had to do. And it was just, you've got to put the hours in. If someone says to you, you know, I haven't got a budget to play for free if you want to, and if you can afford to. I'm not saying DJ should play for free, but you know, if you really want something bad, you've got to show people how dedicated you are. And if you're not willing to do that, and you're like, nah, this is my price, or nah, I won't do that, or I'm like, I used to DJ sometimes for 6 hours, like, and not get paid. But I wanted it that bad, so I just stuck at it, you know.
I remember the days when I first started, and I remember I was a trained chef, and I moved back from London, and I was like, I really don't want to do this, so what do I do? And I kind of hit a bit of a low point, because I was like, I've studied, I've qualified, this is all I've ever wanted to do. Now I'm like, I don't want to do it, what do I do? And I actually discovered DJing about 18 years old, and I remember my first summer away DJing was in Malia.
Okay.
Oh mate, the decks. Do you remember the little decks with the little silver knobs, and you used to put your finger in it and
didn't
just
even know sometimes how long it's on for, because they were broken and all that.
Yeah. But again, I was like DJing for like 30 quid a night. You know, like it's not even enough to live.
But like in places like that, like they do actually pay you. But in Ibiza, because Ibiza's like Hollywood, if you're an actor, you go to Hollywood. If you're a DJ, you go to Ibiza. So in Mali and in Zante and Magaluf and stuff like that, they probably did actually pay you for your work. But in Ibiza, everyone's like, oh, you're a DJ. Oh, okay. What time can you start? Okay, what's the salary? We'll just sort your drinks out. And that's how it worked. I mean, it's probably not as like that now. I mean, none of my DJs get paid in drinks tokens anymore. But like back in the day, like I'm talking, this was 13 years ago, you know, so it was like that. Like people did pay it in drink tokens, but it probably showed the promoters who was more passionate about what they wanted to do. So it paid off in the end. But
so how did you get from getting paid in beer tokens to actually getting paid physically, in the venues that you wanted to play?
So I was working at the time. I was actually working for a brand called Pucker Up. So I was a ticket seller, and I really wanted to DJ on the boats, and they was like the best thing back in the day. The boats were amazing, and I actually wanted to DJ on the boats. So I used to just sell tickets to try and get a set on the boat as well. So I would get paid obviously for my commission from the tickets, but then I'd also get the sets on the boat, and then the clubs were after it. So we were working with Space, Amnesia, Pasha, like all the brands, because that was the after party. So there was always a slot open sometimes for me to DJ in the clubs. And then I think after about 6 seasons in, I got basically made resident. So I was getting paid a salary. So I used to play in Amnesia every Tuesday. Then we used to do Carl Cox's event on a Tuesday as well. Passion on a Wednesday for Steve Aoki's night. So I used to get paid to DJ for the brand. And then obviously I was also PRing, because I used to just love PRing. So I used to DJ and PR.
It's such a good job. Like before I started DJing, I went and worked abroad as well. And obviously, one thing that I always regret is not discovering Ibiza sooner. I wish I'd have discovered Ibiza when I discovered my time going to Malia, because I did the same thing, like PRing, but like, I loved it every night, just chatting to new people.
Like you just meet so many amazing people.
Yeah, and you'd always be like, right, Tuesday and Thursday were the best days, because that's when all the new people came.
Exactly, that's the changeover day. And we used to look forward to it. Like we used to get up in the morning and we'd see people with the suitcases sitting on the beach, because they weren't allowed to check in until 3 p.m. So we'd know they were fresh, and also they were pale as a sheet, because they obviously never had the time. So we'd head over to them, and straight away we'd know we'd get them on selling the tickets, because they just arrived and they didn't get PR'd first, because most people weren't up in the morning to do PR, but we were like, that's the prime time.
So how long did Ibiza go on for, like in terms of, because the thing is, when it's all seasonal, what did you kind of do in the winters? Like, did you earn enough money to just chill out in the winter?
No. So I used to go back to Liverpool, and then I was doing my events in Liverpool. So I was always doing PR and promotion and being a promoter. So I went to Liverpool, and then I left Liverpool, I think it was 2013, and that's when I made the move to Dubai. And that was only just because I just didn't like the cold. Like I was like, you'd be living in Spain for 4 to 5 months, 5 months of the year, and then go back to England, and you got so used to a hot climate. So I just thought, right, where's sunny all year round? And obviously Dubai is.
Had you ever been to Dubai before?
I'd been on holiday. So I went on holiday when I was 15. So this was obviously, you came
on holiday to Dubai when you were 15?
When I was 15, with my friend. And me and her just coming on holiday, because her auntie lived here. So we just come to visit her. And at the time, there was literally
nothing.
Like I think there was the Burj Al Arab and Jumeirah Beach Hotel. At the Palm wasn't here. There was nothing. I don't even know if Brasty was here. I can't even remember. Like I just remember it. I just remember thinking, it's not that great here. Like I don't think I'd ever want to live here. So it didn't sell it to me then. But the reason why I wanted to come back was because my friend, who I actually went on holiday with, Chloe, she lived here at the time. And when she was like, Chris, it's really good now. Like you should come and live here. So that was one of the reasons why I moved here.
So, because one thing that I found is when I first came here, what date did you get here?
I got here just after summer, so it was end of September.
Yeah, I mean, it's still hot then though, isn't it?
It was still hot.
I remember walking out the airport. Actually, it's just been the 28th of August, I believe. I thought it was the 23rd, but my mum was like, posted me yesterday about a memory. She's like, you moved to Dubai 6 years ago. So, and I just remember thinking, I walked out the airport and I was like, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? This is like too hot. Like, did you already know people here? Did you have a circle?
I honestly didn't know anyone here. I knew one person, literally one, and that was my friend Chloe, and who I've been best friends with since I was a kid. And that was who I came with on holiday. And that was literally the only person I knew. Some people have said to me, like, here's someone's number. Like when you get there, drop them a message and they'll go meet you for a beer. Or me friend of a friend works at this bar. He might be able to get you the DJ slot. But apart from that, I didn't know anyone. And that was the hardest part for me, is like, it was the same in Ibiza. When I moved to Ibiza, I didn't know anyone in Ibiza. And I think that is the most hardest thing to do, is like when you go somewhere and you actually don't know anyone, it's scary, because it's so overwhelming. This city is so big. And I remember actually not even understanding what the nightlife was about. So I didn't know what a brunch was. I didn't know what a ladies' night was. I actually thought a ladies' night was just like a night where all the girls would get together and it was just girls only. I didn't know what the concept reason behind it was. Obviously, the point of it is to get the guys to come. Obviously, the girls are there. But for me, I was like, is it wonder if it's just all girls going to this ladies' night, or like I just didn't understand what it all was. So I just went like in the midst of it all and just went out every day, every night, just networking. I was like PRing again when I was 18 in Ibiza, just going around and just speaking to people.
People don't realise, do they? I think probably the most frequent thing I get told when people see how life is here now, especially now I know people and life is good and, you know, it's like home. The most frequent thing people say to me is, you're lucky.
Yeah.
You're so lucky.
Everyone says that.
Oh, mate, the first 6 months was the hardest for me.
Exactly the same for me.
It was really difficult. I remember just thinking to myself, like, I mean, you're surrounded by all these buildings. And I remember I used to go running around the marina and stuff, like literally where we are now. You've got like JBR down that way and the marinas over there, like nice skyscrapers. Like, it's kind of so picturesque where you feel like you should be lucky, but at the time you're like all away from your friends. You don't really know anyone.
Yeah, and
the people
being away from family as well is hard, isn't it? Like normally, like you've got their supportive, you know,
and even just your friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know, you'd go to work or whatever, and then roll into your mum's on a weekend and have a roast dinner or whatever, and you just don't have that privilege anymore.
Yeah, and you're literally you're just on your own, and I think that's one of the challenging things. And I think if you did move to Dubai now, I mean, I've been here 7 years. When I first came, I mean, there was a big community of expats, but I'll probably say now is ridiculous. Like, I've never seen so many British people here in my life. Like, everywhere you go is British people, which, you know, it's good if you're British because you feel a bit more at home. But at the time it was quite scary, especially in the industry I was in with nightlife. There wasn't any British promoters here. There was no British bartenders. Like, you go to most of the restaurants and the nightclubs and they were all different nationalities, which was great because I got to meet different nationalities and different people. But at the same time, it's like when you go to London or you go to England and you go meet people in the industry, it's always like a Cockney or someone from Newcastle or someone from Liverpool or Manchester, and you kind of feel a bit at home. And it's like that in Ibiza, everyone pretty much in the bars and that are all British, but here it's very, very mixed nationality. So it was a bit different, but obviously it's been a good thing really, because you got to meet new people and adapt to different sort of like the ways of life and learning, you know, new skills and people skills, and unfortunately no new languages, but
I would say
still not quite there. Everyone always says to me, you don't speak Spanish or Arabic yet? I'm like, no.
That's the problem. I always explain it because I feel really bad when you meet different nationalities and they say you're just like, I wish I could speak a language, but the problem is even when you come here, like, they just want to talk English to you. They don't
everyone just wants to talk English, exactly. But even like a lot of my staff, a lot of my team, they speak like 3 or 4 languages, and I'm embarrassed. And they're like, how long have you been doing your work for? How long have you been in this industry? I'm like, I still don't know. I still don't know a language, but anyway,
So what was the first venue that you DJ'd at? So
the first ever venue was XL, funny enough, which is literally behind us. Well, just there. In the Habtour, which we're actually in the Habtour business tower. So that was the first ever gig I ever did, and that was on a Monday night, which was not a good night to DJ on, but it was the first ever one.
Get your foot in the door.
Yeah, just get me foot in the door and just show people, like, you know, what I was about and like the energy that I brought. Like, I was always bringing people to the tables and, you know, bringing clients and stuff and bringing groups of girls, and that was just my first opportunity. That was the first DJ gig. My first ever job was working for Movida. So I worked for Bulldozer Group. So my friend Amy got me the job. Is that still
open?
Movida, no. I think that closed.
Some really good nightclubs. Really good nightclubs that are now shut.
Movida was the place to be. I mean, back in the day, I used to work a VIP room in Movida, and I used to work every night of the week as a table host. So I used to host tables, just bringing people to the table and just getting people to have a good time and enjoy it. And then that was when I got a DJ gig there, because they've seen how many people I brought. And, you know, I was like, look, I'm a DJ. I really want to play at these events so the crowd can come and see me. Because every time I bring people, they go, you're not DJing. I'm like, no, I'm not there yet. I'm not allowed to get on the decks. But previously to that, I was playing in Amnesia. And I was playing in different clubs. So it was a bit of a setback. But I kind of took it on the chin and thought, you know what, I'm going to have to show these GMs and these different people who I was in the industry with that, you know, this is what I can do, and I don't mind just starting again from the bottom.
It very much is that culture here, isn't it? It's not like, and it's a shame, because the problem is, I think the DJ world would be much better if people actually got booked on how good they were rather than what they can bring to the venue. But it's here, it's like, 9 times out of 10, it is very much like, okay, so how many people can you bring to the event?
It is a lot like that over here, and that's just the way it is. And it's, for me, I'm not really about that. Like with my team, like, I mean, I've got loads of events every week. I have DJs, and I don't say to them how many people you're going to bring, if otherwise you're not going to get the DJ gig. I'm not about that, because I kind of took what I used to go through when I was growing up as a DJ. I didn't want to ever be like that person, so that for me is not the way to go. But it is nice if some of the DJs bring that.
people.
So if you are watching this, all my DJs, start bringing more people. to the events.
Don't slack it, yeah.
How many wrestlers?
Because we're actually talking about doing gigs together, so I don't
watch
mind.
out. This
Exactly,
guy could be taking your gig. How many wrestlers?
But so you obviously got on a few. Okay, so Movida, and then you obviously used to play at Zero Gravity as well.
Yeah, so Zero Gravity was one of the main jobs that I actually had that give me the motivation to do what I'm doing today. So, you know, it was a big eye opener to the industry. Obviously before Zero Gravity, I always and have been working for Ocean Beach. So I do my events there. So I use my beach club experience from Ibiza, and as a promoter in there, I was running a lot of the events. I was looking after the DJs.
I don't think we can say Ocean Beach anymore, can we?
O Beach.
Yeah, O Beach.
Yeah, well, we still say Ocean
If there's
Beach.
any lawyers watching this, yeah.
O Beach, yeah. But yeah, so that was like one of my first proper jobs, which was in Zero Gravity, and I absolutely loved it. And I always remember, like, it was just one of the most amazing experiences, because they give me such an amazing role. Like, I was managing all the artists. I was one of the key players in like putting together concepts and coming up with ideas, and we were working with Tim and Greg and Peter, and it was amazing. Like, we used to come up with an idea and we'd just implement it into the beach club, and we'd sit down and go, what should we book for New Year's Eve? And we put on like Pete Tong and Duke Dumont and Tiesto, and organising festivals with Tim and Greg and Peter, and it was just an incredible experience, and it gave me a lot of motivation to, you know, stay in Dubai and keep doing what I'm doing, really.
Yeah. And what was the kind of what gig is it that you remember the most, where you go, that gig I'll never forget?
The gig, so I think there's 2 gigs that come to mind. One in Ibiza was probably when I got to warm up Eric Prydz and Annie Mac when we played in Amnesia.
Yeah.
I was shaking, like literally shaking like a leaf, and we were playing on CDs then, so it wasn't, your confidence is less when you're on CDs. Like, you've just like burnt before on your laptop. That was, is it like gonna work? Slowing down, and like your battery, you're going, you're like, shit, is this gonna work on the CD? That was scary.
Or there was a scratch on the CD and it jumped.
I mean, doing that, I mean, now it's confidence, isn't it? You know, you've got Pioneers, you've got the best technology there is. You've got a USB, you've got a backup USB. Like, nothing can go wrong. But when you played on CDs, that was scary. So when you were handing the decks over to the likes of those guys, I mean, for me, I was 23 years old, so it was a pretty scary thing. I'm growing up, obviously, like listening to Annie Mac. Eric Prydz at the time was like literally one of the biggest
he was massive
artists.
He was massive, wasn't he?
It was crazy. That, and then Zero Gravity playing, probably when we did Fatboy Slim. That was, I think there was like 7,000 people or something.
Wow.
That was crazy, because Fatboy Slim is one of my idols. Like, I absolutely love him, and I think if I could be a DJ, I'd probably say him, because still now he's like, what, 50 or something?
Yeah, he's still
going. He's still getting booked.
The funny thing is, he doesn't really, again, I see like DJs in, you've got your elite, and your elite, to me, Fatboy Slim, Eric Prydz, Carl Cox, Marco Corolla, these guys. And to be fair, I mean, apart from Eric Prydz, who's like a fantastic producer, the rest, Fatboy Slim, I mean, he's done a few tracks, but I wouldn't say anything near as close as Eric Prydz. But then you look at Carl Cox, Marco Corolla, these guys, I mean, even like people like Loco Dice as well. They don't really produce great tracks, but they're insane DJs live. And I think that's, you know, like, there's not many DJs now like that where they don't produce. And that's what was good about the old school, is that you did literally get booked because you were an amazing DJ.
It's your personality, and it's your profile, and it's your brand, isn't it? And that's what they've managed to keep going. And I hope that's, like, I'd love to get to that level one day. I mean, I'm not a big producer or anything, but like, to be known, to put on a good party, that's what Fatboy Slim's known for. And he used to organise like big massive raves everywhere and do like mad crazy events. So that's kind of like what I'd love to get, like, in 20, 30 years, people still go, oh, I want to go to one of Chris's events. Would be great.
Right, for those that were watching on the video, the sun has just gone down, so we just had to change a bit of the lighting. But hopefully you can still see the nice little backdrop of JBR. So we spoke about obviously Zero Gravity and how you managed a lot of the artists there and stuff. So then you kind of moved and transitioned into having your own business.
Mm-hmm.
How did the venues that you were filling up and obviously managing their own artists then kind of react to you starting your own business? And how did you transition into, because again, when you know, even if you manage artists, you've still got people paying these people, whereas you've took that sole responsibility on yourself. Yeah. How did you go into that?
I think it just kind of fizzled out a little bit. I think like I was doing more stuff on my own because, as everyone in Dubai, needs to make more money, and at the time I wasn't making enough for me to get to the level I really wanted to get to. Yeah. And it was great, obviously, working for one venue, but at the same time, my eyes are always everywhere. I want to obviously, you know, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. Even during Zero Gravity or even before, I've always had my own business. So I just didn't have an actual company set up in Dubai. I was kind of just doing freelancey stuff, and obviously waiting for Zero. So I think for me, it was just kind of a transition to where the actual venue was obviously sort of focusing on bringing in house people to be able to work there full time, which I could never commit to because I always went to Ibiza in the summer. So it was kind of more of a winter job. And that was it really. Just sort of, I kind of seen that I can do things on my own. I can go and set up my own company. I can do my own events. And I think sometimes, like, rather than giving another venue ideas, like, why not do my own event and, you know, make more money for myself as you know, as an entrepreneur. That's what I've always wanted to do. And my idea was to come to Dubai and obviously do that. Or anyway, that was always my intentions. But obviously along the journey, I got to work with lots of different venues and make a lot of good contacts. And yeah, so it was just sort of it was just a sort of an easy transition, but it was right for me to sort of go, I've been working for this venue for 4 years. I've given it me all. I work my arse off like literally every single day. I mean, sometimes I'd be in the airport at 4 o'clock in the morning picking up a DJ, and then we'd be doing a sound check at 9 a.m. and then I'd be DJing at 1 o'clock for the brunch, and I'd be knackered, and then it'd go right into the night time. So it was pretty full on, and it was a full-time job, and also managing guests as well. It was a big thing because I was always bringing tables and making sure that, you know, obviously people that I booked in was there. And I just got to a point where I was there for 4 years, and it was an amazing time, and I wanted to move on to something else.
Platform that
other venues opened, and I got offered really good, you know, people offer you bigger salaries and more commission and more this and that, and you just go obviously where your heart tells you to go, and I think that's kind of what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I think, and there's a saying, isn't there? If you're not growing, you're dying. So if you're just staying like on a plateau, kind of, okay, I'm just getting through life,
exactly,
which is quite easy to do here. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of people that will move back from a lot of people move back from Dubai and go, you know, I've got nothing to show for it or whatever. Whereas, you know, I think if you slowly keep progressing, it's I mean, I look at when I first came here 6 years ago, and I look back at the guy that came here 6 years ago, and I'm like, is that even the same person? Yeah. It feels so weird because although sometimes I feel like I could be learning more, I could be doing more and stuff like that, at the same time, it's just like, I have experienced so much, and you don't realize until you reflect and go.
Massively. And I still do that now. Like, I don't tend to look back really. I always just keep looking forward, and I'm always thinking about the next thing. But sometimes, like, if I have a little day and I think, and I kind of look back on memories. I love looking back on Instagram when things come up, and I think, you know what, how mad is that? I just remember like doing that brunch in Pasha, and or doing this event in this venue or whatever, and the things that I used to do, even like ladies' days, and just trying to set up an event and let people know about a concept that's never been done before, and trying to basically get people to come to it. It's like, I just look back and think, God, it was a struggle. Like, it really was. I feel like now it's a lot easier for me to do things that I'm doing because I'm so embedded into the events industry. I know what I'm doing. I've got an amazing team around me. I've built up the concepts of everything that we do. People know about me. People know about what we're doing. People know about the brands. But when I look back to years ago, when we were just starting some of the brands, like Ladies' Day, for example, it was hard, like, trying to get people to go to them events. Like, people didn't get it. People didn't know what it was. They were midweek, so no one was available. A lot of people were in work.
Now people take the time off, don't they?
People take Ladies' Day, exactly, which is mad. And back then the tourism wasn't as big. there was people coming here on holiday, but it was mainly people on a luxury holiday or a couple's holiday or a honeymoon. Young people never come. And that for me was my big thing. And that's what Inside Lifestyle was, one of the main parts of what we've done with Inside Lifestyle, was to make it affordable luxury, to make people want to go to Dubai and not go to Vegas, come to here instead of going to Vegas, or come here instead of going to Ibiza. Obviously not like instead of, but you can kind of like, maybe we go to Ibiza as well. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we do Ibiza in September, Ibiza in June, and then go to Dubai September. A lot of people like, you know, want to go on a party holiday and they don't think Dubai. Well, they didn't. Like, it's
quite funny, isn't it? Because I mean, like, go back to last weekend where I'm checking into Nikki Beach for a staycation with my mate, and there's you and Nikki sitting there. I'm thinking it's going to be chilled.
Exactly.
And then literally I wake up the next day and I was like, that was actually probably one of the best days I've had.
Was a good day,
it was really good. And I think you don't realize how good of a time you can have in Dubai.
And there's so many amazing venues. Like, I mean, Nikki Beach for one of them. I mean, you wouldn't think to go there normally in the resort, and it was like a party vibe, wasn't it? It was like a pool party in Miami.
I walked in, I was like, oh my God, this is going off. It's amazing. What motivates you?
What motivates me?
I've just threw you off like, talking about Nikki Beach, and then you're like,
What motivates me? I honestly really enjoy seeing people have a good time, and it's hard to explain, but when you come up with an idea for a brand or a concept, and you sit down and you do a little story plan and a little, you know, mood board, and then you pitch it to someone or pitch it to a hotel, and then it becomes a reality that it's going to be actually an event, and then you see people in that event like on their Instagram stories posting about it, that motivates me. If I'm at home, or on mainly Saturday morning when I wake up and I look at stories, I see stories, and some of the people's stories, I follow them and they don't know me, or they follow me or whatever, I don't know. And I see people and they haven't gone because they've asked me, can I book brunch or whatever? They've just gone because they've seen it on my story, and they don't actually know me, or we don't know each other, but they've seen it through that gives me motivation. Like, that makes me go, I want to do another event. I want to book, I want to come up with something else, because I'm doing something that I know works. And it's like making, I don't know, it's weird. It's like making your own movie. It's like you're kind of creating something that people want to go to and want to see. And that's like, I just feel like my events are like a cinema. Like, people, you put a show on and people go and watch it, or like even like a theatre. And if they like it, they put it on the story, and if they enjoy it, they want to go back to it. And if they go back to it, job's done. Do you know what I mean? So
I must admit, I always try and avoid watching your Instagram stories on a Saturday morning, because I've got the biggest FOMO ever. I'm like, oh, it's going off. Next. But where, I mean, obviously getting to spend a bit more time with you and being around you and stuff, like, you're constantly always thinking and coming up with new ideas. I mean, you've got, like I said, a list of things that we can go and on and on and on and on about. But where do you find like most of your ideas come from? Is there a certain part in the day where you just like boom, 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 or is it just all throughout the day, just non-stop, where you wake up in the middle of the night? Like, how's it all?
It probably it just comes to me in the day. I mean, like, I think a lot of opportunity comes to me as well. So I'm quite fortunate that people come to me with ideas, or people come to me with business plans or whatever. And I mean, not everything around me that I've got going on is done like that, but some people do come to me. Like, for example, venues will message me randomly every single day. Like, hi Chris, we've seen what you do. We'd love to come and work with you. I go to the venue. I've never seen the venue in my life. And I go, I know what I can do in this venue. And then the GM's like, oh my God, why didn't we come up with this? And then that's how we work together. So it happens on a daily basis. I mean, I don't sometimes just wake up and go, I want to do a jungle themed brunch. Like, obviously, like, I might go to Montmazzoni and have a cocktail and see the venue and think, oh, this is a good venue. Maybe I could come up with an idea. How can I do this? It's the same as the Versace. Like, people go to me, where the hell did that come from? And I'm I've always wanted to do an Italian brunch, because I feel like in Dubai, I love Italian food. It's my favorite place to visit. And if I had a day off, which I never have a day off, but if I had a day off on a Friday and I wanted to go and have really nice Italian food at a brunch, I actually couldn't think of one off the top of my head. So that's why I was like, where are the best Italian restaurants? And that's why when I went to Versace, I went there and I was like, right, this is it. And then I started coming up with the whole concept and the opera singer and all that. So it comes to me every day, because things come into place. Like, so, and it could be anything, like someone calling me going, I've got this idea that I want to do in this restaurant or this bar, or someone brings me going, would you like to be in a partner in this business? So it comes out all the time, really. And then obviously I do have my own ideas. Like, I randomly wake up one time and I just go, I've got a really good idea for a barbershop, or I've got a really good idea for an app, and I'll write it down and then I'll just get to work with it. So yeah, it's just all the time, and it doesn't like you meet some of my team and they go, oh, not again. What's he bringing to the table now? And it's like, sometimes I piss them off because they're like, no, more work for us to do.
But it's such a good thing, because I think a lot of people get caught up by not implementing something if it doesn't work. But I think that's a good thing, to try so many things, because you know, I mean, like, look at all the successful people, or, well, when you say successful, it's a very wide kind of spectrum. Let's say all the rich people.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all the ideas that will come up. I mean, look at Amazon, for instance. That you look at 1991, you think Amazon's going to take off? No, but it stuck at it. I'm sure. Exactly. Loads of challenges. And now look at this guy. He's like making, through COVID, there was
200 billion, isn't he?
Yeah. It's
the latest number.
It's crazy. I mean, in terms of your ideas, what's been the best and what's been the worst?
The best idea?
Yeah.
As an event, or just as a whole?
Whatever. It doesn't have to be specific about an event or anything. Just what is the best idea that's come up and you've gone, oh my God, it's amazing, and it's actually took off? And what's been one that's kind of flopped? I'd
probably say Inside Lifestyle is probably the best idea, and that was with my business partner, Nick. I feel like, and I might be blowing my own trumpet, but I feel like we've really helped tourism in Dubai. I feel like we've actually shown people how good Dubai is through influencer marketing, through bringing celebrities over and giving them that inside look into all my events. And that was the main plan, to basically create an event every day of the week, every night of the week, and create a full itinerary. So when you come on holiday, you don't have to worry about where's good tonight. There's somewhere to go. And that's my plan. And that was what I hope I've achieved, that, you know, there is something on every night of the week that I am putting on myself. And then I've also then obviously linked that in with Inside Lifestyle. So when people come on holiday, they can see how good it is. And I've noticed, like, tourism has increased, not because of Inside Lifestyle, but tourism in general has increased. I mean, for the past 3 years, I've seen more people put on their stories, even if they haven't booked it through Inside Lifestyle, they've come to Dubai for a party holiday, or they've, you know, even I see people, like, they go to the 5 Hotel on a Thursday, and when we do that pool party, I mean, it's just full of British people. It's full of people on holiday, where I look at that and it reminds me of Ibiza or Vegas. And I think they are my events. So I must have done something right. So I'd probably say that is my most proudest business that I've set up with my business partner, Nick.
And the worst one?
The worst one?
Has there ever been a worse one?
At the moment, no.
Okay.
I'm at, thank God, touch wood. No, and that sounds mad, and I'm not being big-headed or anything, but I have never actually done anything that has actually failed till now. But, like, literally, like, I mean, I've done events that haven't done great, and then I've kind of actually, you know, had to really work on them to get them to that level.
So you never pull out, you just always make sure they end up being a success.
I've never cancelled an event in the whole time I've been doing events. I've never cancelled it because it's not worked. The only time I've ever had to cancel an event is if the venue's had to shut down, or the venue's gone out of business, or they've just decided to go in another direction. I've never lost the event because they've said it's not busy. So thank God, like that. And I'm really, really, like, proud that I've never actually gone down that route, because it is stressful, but that's probably the difference between me just not giving up. Like, I mean, I don't give up on it. Like, even if it gets to the point where there's like 5 bookings, I'll, like, literally either take my commission away and just fill the venue and try and do whatever I can, or I just don't stop. I will not stop until it's busy. I'll never set up an event if I don't believe in it. I'm not one of them promoters that, I mean, you do get people that want to just do an event just because they want to say they're doing something in a venue, but I don't think that's the right way. I think you have to believe in your brand. You have to believe in the product and the concept. If you don't, and you're just doing it because you want to say, oh, I've got an event, or I want to just do an event somewhere, it's not the way to do it. Like, you've got to believe in it. Otherwise, it'll last 2-3 weeks and then it doesn't work.
Yeah, for sure. And with the, I've always wondered, like, does influencer marketing, is that what you call it? Influencer marketing. Does it actually work?
It does work, yeah. It really does. I mean, obviously, a lot of the influencers that we use, that we bring over to Dubai, I mean, they're showing people how good Dubai is. You know, you get to see through their stories. Like,
do you ever get people message you and say, "Hey, Chris, I saw X, Y, Z celebrity.
All the time.
I want to book a holiday."
All the time, yeah. I mean, like everyone that we bring over is for that purpose. We don't just bring them over because we want to say we've got a celebrity at our event. I mean, we bring them because they bring value, and also they're fun to be around, and we have a good time with them. And people like to get, you know, people like to see other people in your events, and then they say, oh, well, you know, if it's good enough for them, then obviously I want to go. And it obviously does work, but it's also about obviously promoting, and that's what social media is about. It's about letting people see that Dubai is amazing and it's got so much to offer.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? I mean, everyone who follows me is the same people that follow me every day. Obviously, influencers, their Instagram's growing all the time. They're gaining new followers all the time. So it's good to open up to new markets.
Okay, this one's just sprung to mind. And I don't know if you're going to be like, stop asking me awkward questions, Danny, but take away social media.
Okay.
How do you bring people to your events, Dubai and stuff like that?
PR, like old school organic PR. And before, that's the thing, before we had social media, well, I tell a lie, we had Facebook when I first moved here, but I don't think I had a lot of followers on Facebook that lived in Dubai. In fact, I probably had like 4 people that followed me, or that was friends with me on Facebook. Obviously, like Facebook's a lot different to Instagram. You have to request the friend, and then obviously, so Instagram, obviously it's easier to follow someone, even if, I mean, you might not even follow them, you can still see the stories. I think back in the day when I first moved here, it was old school. I actually remember having flyers and CDs, and I remember going to Barasti. I hope the GM of Barasti might not be seeing this, but I used to sneak into Barasti and pretend that I was sunbathing there, and I would actually, like, basically, you know, PR and go up to people on a bed and say, what are you up to tonight? And they go, no plans, and I'd go, come to my vida. And that was old school PR, and that's what I would actually probably do.
Well, the thing is, it's like, I mean, I've been to Miami and places like that, and you get that on the beach, and Ibiza, obviously. Yeah, exactly. But here, everywhere's like shut off.
It doesn't happen here, yeah. And but that's because you can't really go and do that, because straight away the security be like, what are you doing in here, PR? And obviously you're PRing for competitors. So when I was here, obviously, that's how I did it. I didn't have Instagram then. I had Facebook. We didn't have Instagram. I think it was Facebook. I don't ever remember having Instagram. Yeah. And this was like 7 years ago. Yeah. So we didn't put flyers on like that. I mean, obviously you put flyer on Facebook, but as I said, like I didn't have anyone on my Facebook that lived in Dubai, so it was very old school. So I'd probably say, just good old fashioned PR, going out, speaking to people, WhatsApp groups. BBM was probably the one. BBM. Wow. So I used to have a BBM broadcast, and I used to have all the top 100 people that I knew was party people that didn't have to get up. So I used to have like different lists. So like if we do Wednesdays, which was like a big R&B night on the Wednesday, I would always have a list for the people that didn't work Wednesday. So I'd BBM them.
Oh, nice.
And then the ones that worked in real estate, or people like yourself who have a 9 to 5 Sunday to Thursday, I'd know they'd come to my vida Thursday night and Friday night. So I wouldn't BBM the ones that were out before. So yeah, that was me tactic.
Yeah.
No digital marketing, no ad campaign, no Google, nothing.
I mean, I must admit, I wish sometimes I didn't have a 9 to 5, because I mean, when I see your events, like you've got something for every night of the week now, right? Yeah. So walk me from a Sunday through to a Saturday every night. What can people expect if they sign up to an Inside Lifestyle holiday and they're like, right, Chris, I just want to party every night.
So a lot of the events we have a mixture. So that's with secret parties. Like we tend to focus on people like in Versace. If you really want to go for like something a little bit special, so it's all different across the week. So going from Sunday so Sunday we do wet deck at the W. So that's party, but it can be chilled. So you can go and chill on the beach and still experience it. So that's Sunday at wet deck. Sunday night we do STK, so downtown and JBR. These are actually not happening right now, but they will be soon because of COVID. Monday, Paradise, which is my ladies' day at Play. It's called Play at Paradise Beach Club. Monday night I do an event called Cinque at the 5, which is like a really classy ladies' night, Italian vibe. Tuesday day, we at the moment don't have anything on. I was doing Soho last year, but it's not on at the moment. It's not on. Tuesday night, Burj Khalifa, which is ladies' night. Wednesday day, Cove Beach. Wednesday night, Maidan Shanghai. Thursday day, 5 pool party. Thursday night, Penthouse. Friday, I've got 6 brunches. So La Conita, Marmazonia, Versace, Flair Number 5, Cafe Belge, Caesar's Palace Paru, and for the families, Family Fest at Caesar's. Saturday afternoon we do Momazonia, which is a Saturday brunch. We've got another brunch launching soon, but I won't be able to say that just yet until the contract's signed, which is a pool brunch. Saturday night, we're just launching One Oak this Saturday, actually, which is going to be a late brunch.
Just opened, does it?
One Oak's reopened now, yeah. So obviously because of COVID, it can't be a proper nightclub vibe. We've had to bring food in. So we've calling it the late brunch. So it's like the latest brunch ever.
On a Saturday?
On a Saturday night, 8 o'clock, 3 hours, proper brunch vibes, unlimited food and drink. But yeah, like, it's weird because it's in a nightclub, but it's going to be sick. I mean, no one's ever done it before. So I don't think anyone's ever done it. I've never seen it be done before. So it's called the late brunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it pretty much the whole week. And then in between, we've got a couple of chilled events, like, which people don't actually know, like, I'm involved in, but like we do stuff like at Caesars where we do like one hell of a daycation where we've got that on Inside Lifestyle. If you want to go and just chill out for the day and have a roast dinner in Hell's Kitchen, that's on there. So there's loads of stuff on the website that are part of our packages, but I don't put on there too much because it's not really party. It's very chilled.
Yeah. And I mean, why should people come back to Dubai now? Because obviously I've seen a lot of promotion on your Instagram with bringing people back. And I think what a lot of people don't realize, while the other part of the world is suffering, life is good here.
Life is not bad, is it? I mean, things are still open.
We're all law-abiding citizens, so I think we play by the rules. But which has then been able to kind of allow us to have our normal life sort of resume. So if I'm sitting watching this podcast and I'm like, right, Chris, what you're saying sounds good, but I'm a little bit scared to come. Why should I come to Dubai?
I think we've kind of recovered a lot quicker than anywhere else in the world. If you look at America and you look at Europe, Europe, unfortunately, now is probably going into another bit of a lockdown where you can't actually go travel so easily and you can't go to events. There's no like loud music or whatever. So like for us in Dubai, we're well ahead of that. I mean, our lockdown was a lot stricter, wasn't it? So we kind of like we didn't get as many cases. So I think over here it's a lot safer. You can do things a lot more easily. And if you are on holiday, you're not going to really feel like there's been a pandemic, apart from wearing a mask going to and from, the bathroom if you're in a restaurant or if you need to get a taxi. But apart from that, everything is pretty much normal and it's safe. We are sanitizing everything. We are 2 meter distance. We are using a lot of, certain techniques within the restaurants. I know what I've seen when I've gone like behind the scenes of a lot of the restaurants that we work with. The restaurants are just on another level. I've never seen so many things get cleaned before, like sanitized, like the chefs, the way they do things, like it's so done well here. Like it's ridiculous. And I can say that coming from someone who actually visits probably 14 to 15 restaurants a week. I mean, I don't pop in the kitchens every day, but I do pop in and say hello to the chefs and I see things and I see how we do things. And for anyone who's watching in the UK, this is a really safe place to come, and it really is. So, and it's also amazing now. I mean, like the weather's getting cooler by the minute. Like literally, like
it's so nice.
It's getting so nice now, isn't it? Like from 6 o'clock, like you can go in the sea and the sun's setting. Like it's a nice time to come, especially if you want to get some heat if you haven't been on a summer holiday, because some people didn't get to go away because they lost the holidays or cancellations or whatever. So
have you always been, I mean, from a young age, you said you were an entrepreneur through and through. That obviously shows now, but from a young age, were you like that?
Yeah. Like,
when was the first time like you kind of realized that you were a little bit, like you thought about different things in terms of business ideas? Like when was your first business idea as a kid?
So my first business idea is funny because it's mad because anyone who's going to watch this is going to think this is hilarious. So I was actually, when I was really young, my first ever job was DJing, but I was a magician as well. So I used to do magic. So I was, so I was 11 years old.
Can you still do it?
I can do some of it. So Nabil, who's our magician who does all my secret parties, he actually does things that I know how he does it because I used to study magic. So when I was...
So magic is not actually magic. It's just you learn a trick.
It's not real magic, no, obviously. Sorry.
You ruined my dreams.
But yeah, that was probably my first ever business idea when I was younger. So I used to see that a lot of mums and dads used to always struggle to try and find someone who could like entertain children and all in one go, basically. So I used to stem that from my little sister. So my mum would always be like, who are we going to get for me sisters? Who are we going to get for our Lauren's birthday party? Like, who are looking in the yellow pages? And they'd want a magician, and they'd want a balloon animal, and they want a DJ, and they'd want this, and they'd want that. So I was just kind of like, when I was like 11, 12, I wonder if I could do it. And that was the first ever business idea I come up with. And I did it for my sister's birthday party.
That's hilarious.
So I did like the whole thing, like the whole shebang, basically. And then when I was like 12, 13, I used to get a lot more bookings. Like, so I used to advertise in like the schools and the church halls and different places like that. So throughout the weekends, I was like pretty much booked out. I didn't really have a normal childhood. I didn't go out and play a lot, like in like, you know, growing up, because I was always working. Like, I worked literally like Friday after school, I'd have a school disco, be like, you know, a young school disco, like proper teens discos. That's quality. And I always used to get booked because I knew my music. So like, obviously the teenagers would always book me because I used to play all the music that I knew they liked, instead of having like a guy who was like 40, 50 years old. So I was always on board with everything. That was, you know, what was cool at the time. And then when I was about 14, I turned it into a proper business where I had a website, I had a big trailer which used to have all my equipment in and all the things, and we did catering, we did videography, we did photography. So that was kind of like where now my company is now. I do videography now for a lot of hotels, like the 5 Hotel and Caesars and stuff like that. So we do a lot of campaign videos. So I actually used to do videos for weddings, christenings, parties. So it was like a one-stop shop. So it's always been in me since I was literally 11. And I just used to expand the business into photo key rings, everything, like just.
That's quality. That's
weird,
quality.
Yeah.
So okay, so we've covered inside lifestyle. We've covered secret parties. We've also got cleanse, which is one of your new ideas.
Yeah, cleanses.
Mr. Buy. What else have we got?
Stew of the Gods, which is a product which I have gone into a partnership into business.
Stew of the Gods.
Stew of the Gods.
Stew of the Gods. Okay.
Stew of the Gods. It's a Icelandic glacier facial spray, which is it's another business. Which is, I've gone into a business with a friend of mine who lives in Canada, who's a product developer, and basically we collaborated and basically I probably need another podcast to tell you about how this came about. But that's one of the another businesses that we are basically bringing it to the UAE. It's unfortunate actually, because a lot of the stuff that I have, which is now coming about that you see on my Instagram, have been planned before COVID, and COVID just had a massive strain on it. Like a lot of the products for that actual business is in customs somewhere waiting to get approved, and cleanse has obviously come about, but we'd had products, obviously sourcing the products and getting made during COVID. It just, everything's been a big strain on things, like Picnic as well. Like, we had plans to set up the cafe, like literally before COVID. We've always been wanting to plan it, me and my sister, and we just haven't been able to do it because obviously we can't open cafes and people couldn't go in there, and just everything I've got in the pipeline has been a big struggle, because you kind of look at it and go, we've wrote a business plan out. Miss Dubai is one of them. Like, we're still not launched it yet, but app developers and certain things, you'd have to put a hold on things. If your businesses aren't working, they're funding the other businesses because they're startup businesses. So if you're not doing your events, you can't fund the business that is not making any money, because that's what supports it as an entrepreneur. You've got to use the money from your other businesses to support your ideas. So COVID's messed it up.
It has. I mean, this is a subject that we could talk about all the time. We talk about on Instagram, we share videos, and it's like, I don't think this is probably the right place to talk about this. But as a business owner, like, how have you managed to overcome what's been going on? Because your whole business model is
tourism events,
shut down, lockdown, no travel. How did you get through it?
I think the main thing for me was being wise and making sure that you saved. I think savings is a big thing as an entrepreneur. Like, you do kind of, you go each day and you kind of gotta. It is hard because you'd have one good event, and then another event might not make so much money because it's a startup event. So you've got to make sure that you are saving your money and you are putting it, you know, away for a rainy day, and to make sure that if something like this does happen, then, you know, you are there to support that. Because I think if I wouldn't have been, like, if I would have blew all my money and spent, like, I mean, before COVID, I was doing really well. It was very successful and I was making really good revenue. But if I'd spent it all and gone, right, I'm going to leave, I'm going to go on a massive holiday and go around the world and buy bottles and, you know, buy Lamborghinis and go crazy and whatever. And I think I would have had no money, do you know what I mean? And I would have been like, I would have had to close every single thing I had, because I couldn't have gone and asked, you know, my family for money, because, you know, my family was struggling. My family was out of work, and, you know, everyone around me was out of work. I couldn't have asked a friend. Like, everyone I knew who's doing well has been hit by this.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who they are. Like, everyone has had an effect of this. So I was very clever that I didn't spend all my money. When I was making good money, I didn't spend it all. I was putting it in the bank, and I was obviously saving it to make sure that I could support my team. During COVID, I still managed to support my team in some way. So a lot of my staff got paid half salary. A lot of them, if they needed help with anything, I was there. If they needed anything, I tried to give them like little tasks and stuff. So we were still keeping the brand alive. I didn't just go, right, let's close everything up. Let's shut Inside Lifestyle down. Let's close Secret Parties. Let's close this.
Yeah.
We were still grafting and behind the scenes. We were still planning new events, planning the website, making sure, like, my business partner was working on the website over COVID to refresh things. And I think that's one of the things why we've come out of it now and we're doing okay, is that we didn't just sit back and enjoy that 3 months. We didn't sit at home and, like, well, I did get fat. I was going to say didn't get fat. We did get fat. Like, I obviously ate loads of junk food and just, like, ate Deliveroo. But I sat at home and really managed my time and energy and sat with my business partners. And I've fortunate to have a really good team around me. And we Skyped all the time. And, you know, Nick on Inside Lifestyle, we're working on the website and changing things, like looking at user experience and adapting. Why didn't this work? What was
making sure it's
more
like
user-friendly. What were we doing wrong before? And, like, what was all them negative feedbacks that we had, like all the comments that we had about maybe this wasn't right in the brunch, or this wasn't right, or whatever. And we've just gone, let's make this better. Let's perfect what we had going on. So when we do come back and we get the green light to launch the event or launch the website, we're a lot better than what we were.
Yeah.
And I think that was the key to the success of getting back. I mean, I'm not saying we're back to normal. It's still, we're breaking even a lot of the time, if I'm completely honest. And I think a lot of people now do see things that I'm doing and think, bloody hell, like, you must be smashing it now. Everything's sold out. But we're not. We're on less capacity, and things are hard now. We're breaking even, and we're trying to just keep the team together. And I think a lot of time people forget that, like, it's not just me in this. Like, when people see my stories, they think it's just me. Or I think some people don't actually know that I actually have the events. Some people think I actually just go to them or a DJ at them. But behind the scenes of everything that I do on the Instagram, there's 20, 30 staff in this office that we're sitting in, working and you know, keeping them motivated and not letting them feel like the company's going under, and letting them know that they're safe, and, you know, they've got visas and, you know, everything under my company. I basically support them being in this country, and you've got to keep them knowing that, you know, I've got this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things aren't gonna, you know, we're not gonna close down, because it must be scary as an employee to see, you know, big companies around you. Like, when you see things going, you know, bankrupt. I mean, some companies are letting people go, like 5,000 jobs getting lost, and, you know, there's so many, even big brands that you think, how have they gone under? Like, how has that happened?
Yeah.
And
like I think 10% of the Indian population in Dubai actually left in one single swoop, just gone.
Yeah.
And that's when you realize that, wow, this is a serious situation, isn't it?
It's hard, and it's been hard to keep everyone working. I mean, some people I still can't bring back because we don't have them events happening and we don't have this happening. And I've had to say to them, look, we're going to have to reconsider it when obviously time's better. But I've tried to do what we can to bring as many people back and keep them working, and give them some motivation that we're not gonna go. Yeah. We're not gonna go bankrupt. We're gonna keep going. But yeah, it's been a challenge.
So what's next for you?
What's next?
What's going to be the focus for the next few, till the end of this year, then, let's say?
Just keeping the events busy and letting people know that Dubai is a really good place to come, and we're going to expand Inside Lifestyle, which we had on ready to go into the other countries, which, you know, we were ready to do that. But obviously, unfortunately now, some of the countries you can't even actually visit. So that's put a massive strain on the concept of us expanding inside lifestyle to other countries like Bali and different places around the world. So that is on the radar, and we're not going to stop with that. That's next. And obviously just growing the brands like Ladies Day and, you know, Secret Parties and Sin and all the different brands that we've got, and the events and the dinner parties and everything. We just want to keep growing them and keeping them big. And then obviously focusing on my products, which is Cleanse and Do With The Gods, like just focusing on that is a different market. I've never really gone into this market of like product development. And I just kind of wanted to do it because it's different and I have never done it before, but I know a lot about products and marketing because I studied at university. So I always went down the events route and the marketing route for that, but I wanted to try and focus on trying a product and seeing if I can get it out onto the market. I've got the data, I've got the reach and, you know, the ideas. So I've just thought that's exciting for me to try new things. And that's one of the things that I love doing is just trying new things. It just gets me motivated.
Getting out of your comfort zone, I think, is such an important thing.
Massively,
I think, you know, I always talk about this video, but I remember few weeks ago now, I listened to a video about this David Goggins guy. Have you heard of him?
Yeah.
Guy's a nutter, mate. He just literally just does. He's just like, if this is the most savage thing you can do in the world, I'm going to do it. That's his mindset. He ran like 7 ultra marathons.
Yeah.
You know, he's just a crazy guy. But he actually said one thing. He says, you know, like, I want to go up to heaven. He's like, I believe in like a higher power. Doesn't know what it is, whether it's a man, female, whatever. If it's even a person, it may just be a thing. But he wants to get there and be like, them say to him, you know, I had you at this. I had you at this.
Yeah.
But all this other shit that you've done throughout your life, these ultra marathons, this, that, the other, you know, breaking all the barriers, being a Navy SEAL, being this, being that. You know, I was writing this as you were doing it, you know? So like I planned your life, but you outworked what I planned. And, you know, it's quite funny, isn't it? It's like, if tomorrow was your last day on earth, could you truly say to yourself, I lived my life to the fullest? Because it's one thing that a commodity we don't get again. It's time. And it's so easy to live in that moment where you're just not, you just going by. But can you say, I mean, I can imagine I know what the answer is going to be to this, because you obviously always want to do more and more and more. But if tomorrow was your last day on earth, would you be satisfied with your life?
I would, I would be satisfied, because I don't think I've never been in a bad situation where I've thought, what am I doing? I've always kind of knew where I was going and what I wanted to achieve, and I'm still there doing what I'm doing. But it's took me a long time. Like, it's not been overnight. I didn't move in and everything got handed to me on a plate. Like, I've worked my arse off since I was 11 years old, like, do as much as I can. Like, I genuinely have. And everyone around me is part of that success as well. And obviously, just being around good people and choosing who you hang around with, choosing who your circle is the most important thing. And that's, I don't really have any regrets. I feel like I have. I think the only thing you would kind of want to do better is just, I don't know, I think obviously with your events, it's so hard to manage all your events because there's so many of them. But you want to be at all of them to make sure everyone's having a good time. And I think
I haven't got the willpower, mate. I'd be turning up to work hungover every day. Like, last night was great.
I think if I could clone myself and have like loads of me, I'd love to be more at all my events, because sometimes I just can't go to them all, and it's so hard to like making sure that, you know, every event's amazing. But I think that's one of the things that, like, as I said, what motivates me. I think if something happened to me tomorrow, I could look back and go, what people probably don't think is, how many times have people chose to go to one of my events for brunch? How many times have people gone and had the best day of their lives at Ocean Beach, or had the best day of their lives at a ladies' night or a ladies' day, or that was the day that they went, oh my God, how good was that day? I feel like that was because of me, because that was my idea, or that was my event, and I organised it, or I DJ'd, or I organised the entertainment, or I feel like that's my impact. I know that sounds cheesy, but that's me doing my good for the world. Like, I'm making people have a good time. It's true. Like, and I don't think people think that actually that's a good deed. It actually is, because people save all month to go and have a good time with their friends, to go on holiday. And if I give someone a good holiday, I mean, we get messages when Inside Lifestyle was obviously, you know, at its peak, I get messages like people in the airport saying, Chris, I just want to thank you for the most amazing week ever, or someone proposed, or it was their honeymoon. And I go out my way, and so do my team, to make sure that everything is done properly. Like, even if someone books a hotel room, like the name is engraved in the pillow, or the robes have got their initials on it, just anything that I can do that to make someone's time or holiday, or even their birthday, like they want to have a birthday cake, and like, you know, like just making sure that the birthday cake's there, or like something needs to come on, like a certain song, or there's so many things that I do behind the scenes, or even my team, that people don't realize, and people don't see that. And I don't put it on my story over there and go, oh, I've just made Jane's day by giving her a cabana and upgrading it to this. But I do it every day, and I don't put it on my story. But that's my gratification. Like, when I go home, I do get these messages, and I get them every day. Chris, I've had such a lovely day. Or if someone messages me saying it's my friend's birthday, can you try and get us queue jump, or can get that, to me, I feel like when someone says to me I've had a good day, it doesn't cost me nothing. Like, I literally do something by just calling someone, or doing something, or telling one of the team, make sure she gets a window seat, or just anything. And I feel like that, for me, like, I will go away and go, I've been doing that my whole life. So that's my contribution. So the answer is I do feel like I've been all right.
Now, we've talked about all these things. I'm sure people are going to be looking at this, right? I'm booking my flight to Dubai now. Where can we find Inside Lifestyle? Where can we find secret parties? Tell us where we can find
the handles of it all. So inside-lifestyle.com. If you go on the website, literally you can book everything from someone picking you up from the airport, to knowing that you don't have to go through a certain security control. We've got literally limousine service, to desert safari, to Burj Khalifa, to swimming with the dolphins, to swimming with the sharks, to eating in front of the Burj Khalifa fountains. Like, everything is on inside-lifestyle.com. secret-parties.com, everything is on there, all the secret parties events, and ladiesday-dubai.com is all my ladies days.
Nice. Well, thank you very much. Touch me. That was a good one. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope it's inspired you guys to get off your seats back in the UK. Treat yourself. Come on a holiday. Come see what life is like. Myself and Chris, mainly Chris, will show you around and show you what a fantastic place Dubai really is. So thank you all again for tuning in. Chris, thanks very much for spending the time.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you on the next episode. And I'll tag all the links and everything so you can check out Inside Lifestyle, Secret Parties, Ladies Day, and everything else that the amazing Chris does. Thank you very much, mate.
Thank you.
See you later, everyone.